Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Oh, that's bad light. Let me change that. Yeah, a little bit better. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL. Don't panic. Keep this one brief today. I am still travelling. I'm in England, Hartford at the moment, and heading back to Ireland next week. I'll probably do some more detailed videos then. In the meantime, let's bring you up to date to how we have been doing. We'll start with a quick review of game week 3. And in my last video, my predicted points were 65 points excluding captaincy. That's what my spreadsheet told me. I didn't believe it, but we didn't do too badly. Very, very quick run through of how that went. Not so hot in goal with that the sending off in the art, Declan Rice getting sent off. So Arsenal didn't keep their clean sheet. So that meant I had a couple of, had 3 blanks in defence. Raya just got the 2. Gabriel just the 2 points, but Trent again could easily have had a return, an attacking return, but they kept Liverpool nice and reliable clean sheets there. So Trent got his 6 points, and Hall, as I mentioned in my last video, was my big concern, and he only got the 1 point because he didn't actually start. I think he came on with about 20 minutes to go. And I was kind of expecting that, but decided, as I say, I've got a no hits policy. Glad I didn't do it because the person I was thinking of bringing in, if I was going to take a hit, would have done worse. And the bench that I had, nothing did any better than him there anyways. Ahmad Diallo just had the 1 point. Things didn't even look that flashy in midfield, to be fair. Gordon just the 2 points, and Bruno continues to disappoint with just the 2 points. However, saving grace, as I think he was for quite a lot of managers this week, as Salah, and I had the captain's armband on him, so he came with 34. And Diego Jota just the 3 points, and I was a bit worried in that game as he didn't really seem to be that involved. And Diaz actually looked the liveliest and more likely goal threat, but Slot has come out after that match saying there was a tactical thing going on there. Which would have meant that Diego Jota wasn't as involved as Diaz was. So we'll see what we do with that going forward. Monitor that situation. But the other saviours was my front line. That all of them came in with a return. Wizard got 8 points. Havertz got 8 points, and Isak finally hit the mark with a 9-pointer. So all in all, 77 points. Pretty happy with that. All things considered, and considering the amount of blanks I had. How that then sort of stacks up, if we actually look at how I'm actually doing on a wrong one. Just see if we can get this up. That meant, as I say, I got the 77 points. That was off a prediction of 65 excluding captaincy. So yeah, it's pretty much spot on, really. And all my predictions so far have amazingly been very accurate. How that leaves me going forward, remembering objectives here, we're trying for 100k, top 100k finish this year, and also trying to achieve that, I believe, need to be hitting around that 70 points each week. That should actually get me well above, but the target is 70 points. And I do actually think if I do hit 70 points on average every week, I should finish well inside the top 100k. But 70 points on average is what we're really trying to strive for across the season. That's put me in pretty good shape. The FPL game week average for game week 3 was 64. So I finished well above that with the 77. The safety score that I needed to maintain my 70 points average was 52. So 77, nice, well above my safety score. It gives me a rolling total of 230. A total of 235, and my rolling average now is 79. So that's giving me a plus of 25 points from a 70 points average. So that means my next game week safety score is 45 points. Obviously, you want to try and achieve much more than that and stay above that, well above that average. The bigger a buffer I get, obviously the safer it becomes. My game week position was just 2,213,000. 2,213,000, which is yeah, it would have been nice to have been a bit higher, but it was a fairly high scoring week, so it's still keeping me on track. My overall position is 481,000, which is actually not a bad spot to be in at the moment this early in the season, because it's very volatile, and just a few points can literally make 100,000 places of difference. I am actually only 13 points outside the top 100k, and the other one, which is a very, very important metric that I look at, is the leaders rolling average. As I mentioned in my last video, I expect to see this coming down literally week on week on week. So in week 1, the leader scored 123. Then game week 2 was a different leader of the overall competition, and they were on 117 points. That's dropped down in game week 3 to 103 points. So we're seeing that leaders average coming down literally on a weekly basis, and it should, fingers crossed, be closer to that 70 points that I'm achieving by about game week 15ish, and we should see that creeping down on a week by week basis. And we're already seeing a lot of turmoil out there, people that have played their wild cards early, taking hits, light benches, etc. We can see that FPL leaders average is creeping down. So hopefully that is a trend that continues and gets closer to me as the weeks go by. Not going to spend too much time on my team this week, other than say I have hit the wildcard button. It was very, very strategic. There may still be some tweaks to this. Number of reasons for that. There were a few players that haven't been performing, but it's very much about the upcoming fixture swings. So the big one obviously is, at the moment, Haaland is just going off, and there are a couple of really tasty home fixtures coming up in the next few weeks, but in particular this upcoming game week. So just feel that a few weeks. It actually goes on for a long time. At the moment, we've got Haaland and Salah. They're on home and away fixtures at the same time. So over the next 2 weeks, they've both got 2 home fixtures. Then they're actually going to split off for a few weeks, where one's going to be home and one's going to be away. So my plan in this wildcard is built to bring me up to game week 10. With a couple of transfers in game week 6 to probably bring in a couple of Arsenal assets. So it's very much built towards that. And the question was, could I build a Haaland draft that still helped me where I was still able to achieve my averages? So I'll run through it quickly. But when I put this together, the first thing I did was I actually left Haaland and Salah out to see, would this team feasibly achieve 70 points with 9 players? If Haaland and Salah both injured, and find out after deadline, how would this team go? And it was surprisingly, now bearing in mind we are working with just 3 weeks of data here, but surprisingly I was able to put a team together that was coming close to achieving 70 points without the minute. Now that augurs well if I actually have a couple of good game weeks. Maybe there could be a couple of really good hauls in there. FPL doesn't work like that, of course, and again, as long as I'm hitting that 70 point average, I will be very, very happy. But very, very quickly, the team. It's one that I'm not entirely happy with. I've been working on, but the budget doesn't allow it. I would have liked to have had maybe Martinez in gold from Aston Villa. Got a fantastic run of fixtures, but I'm going with Henderson. Palace have been good, although they have been conceding. They haven't had a clean sheet yet, but they haven't looked too bad at the back. And I just have a feeling they've got some good couple of good fixtures coming up. And I think we might be able to squeeze a couple of clean sheets out of them. At the moment, though, the Henderson's average over the last 3 game weeks is just over 2 points. So 2 or 3 points is his average over the 3 game weeks. A couple of clean sheets over the next 5, though, and we'll be grand there. Then another one I'm bringing in at the moment is an Aston Villa defender. They've got a fantastic fixture run. I'm bringing in Digne from Aston Villa at the moment. I was looking at Konza, but he may be an injury doubt after the international break. He has an rolling average of 4 points at the moment, with some returns and a couple of just 2-pointers. And again, this is such limited data now, just 3 games. We really need to be up to 5, 6, 7 games of data for this to really have true meaning, but we have to go with what we have at the moment. Trent's been great, so he's going to stay in the team. I'm really hoping we can get an attacking return out of him in the next couple of game weeks. So he's hitting a nice average of 7. I'm bringing in Lewis, which is a slight gamble. Manchester City, 4.5. A City defender. Some very, very, very good fixtures over the next 5 or 6 weeks. And so again, so it's a very much a budget choice, but he's been really good. Danger, of course, now is Walker going to start to take some minutes off him. The thing is, I think if Lewis starts, he'll get to the 60 minutes and Walker might come on for half an hour. So that could be a good lock-in of a clean sheet. Although I think looking at Lewis, there's always a decent chance of an attacking return there. But also, I've given myself some very good bench cover, which we'll come to. And the thing with that, I think is, I think that's going to work reasonably well, because if Lewis doesn't start, the way Trent plays things, it's probably not necessarily likely that he's going to come on at all. Trent seems to put his 11 out, and any changes that he doesn't quite often change things at the back. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. But I'm hopeful that Lewis is going to keep his position, because there's Champions League coming up. So maybe Walker will play in the Champions League. So his averages are great. He's averaging 5. I actually think he could achieve much more than that over the next few weeks. Then we have some areas that I'm looking at in defence. Saliba would actually be on the bench for me. That's looking toward where I need to bring in Arsenal assets, saving me transfer, because I do need to build up transfers towards game week 10 for a mini wild card. But Saliba on the bench. But for instance, if Lewis didn't play, then that's what a fantastic bench option. And I've also got Dunk. Some excellent fixtures. Averages not too bad. He's just averaging 3 points a week over the last first 3 match weeks. But some very good fixtures. So I'm hopeful we'll get something there. The other budget pick is Rodgers, with just 6 points over the last 3 games. But he's been very unlucky not to have returns. I've got Mbeumo potentially. These areas where I'm still just working on. It could be Wizza on the bench in the forwards, or it could be Mbeumo on the bench. Definitely want Brentford assets when I get to game week 6. So just fiddling around with that one at the moment. Then we have Eze. He's finally off the mark. Some great fixtures coming up. Averaging 5 per game at the moment, which is okay. But I suspect we're going to see a big rise in that. I'm expecting a haul from Eze in the next few game weeks. Humming and hawing between Diaz and Nunes. Diaz and Jota. I think I'm going to go back to Jota. I think I'm going to stay with Jota. Diaz's numbers are very good. It's a coin toss. But if I go with Diaz, he's averaging 10 points based off of 2 very good returns in game week 2 and 3. He was away on international duty. He didn't get back till late, so a little bit of a concern there. But I'm hopeful Jota will go back into his more central position and start getting lots of chances, because he could have easily been on the same returns as Diaz. He just has had a bit of bad fortune in front of goal. And then, of course, we've got Salah, averaging 13 points. Nothing to say there. He's just got up and running so quickly, which is something that I did expect. So that's fantastic. Then up front, it's looking at the moment like it's going to be Haaland and João Pedro. Pretty set on that. It's obviously going to be Haaland, averaging 13 points, and João Pedro. Now, if that all comes to fruition, we're looking at probably about, the prediction comes out at 75 points. Again, feels optimistic. But that would be an absolutely great outcome if we can actually hit that 75-point mark without captaincy. If I get over the 70, going to be happy. But there is haul potential in this team, definitely. But there are weaker players in there. Obviously, I haven't got a Palmer, I haven't got a Saka. There's some really good players there. Foden, I'll have my eye on, see what happens. I'd really like to get Foden into the team at some point if he actually gets back in the City team. At the moment, though, team is set up. I've got quite a deep bench. If I run through, I'll just get the old phone out here because it's actually a little bit easier. Yeah, at the moment, I've got a bench that consists of Wizza, Digne, Aston Villa, good defensive cover there again, and Saliba. And let's say with João Pedro and Haaland up front, João Pedro's gone really well. And with the midfield, one thing change I have made from the spreadsheet. I'm actually going with Semenyo at the moment. He's been absolutely on fire. So Semenyo, Salah, Eze, Jota, and Rodgers is currently the midfield with Trent, Lewis, and Dunk at the back, Henderson in goal. They're all on home fixtures. They're all players that are in very, very good form. And all these home fixtures, they're good home fixtures. And each and every one of them are in home fixtures again next week. And again, for the most part, very, very good home fixtures. The bench is deep. It gives me that bit of cover because we're coming into a period where we're going to have European football. There's going to be rotation. There's going to be surprises that we don't expect. I don't know, maybe Haaland will get rested or taken off early if they're suddenly 2 or 3-0 up, and he might not even have returned. So just, there's just needing the cover off the bench for any injuries, rotations, all sorts of things. Because I'll need to get through to game week 10 and roll transfers. I'll be doing 2 transfers in game week 6, and then I'll want to try and have 3 or 4 transfers in hand by game week 10. So that is the strategy. That is the plan. It could all change. Let's see how we go this week. This has been a bit brief and a little bit rambly for anyone listening, but hopefully that all made sense. And I'll be back next week to review and hopefully be hitting those averages. And be nice to get a green arrow because I've had two red arrows in a row. Not surprising, given the volatility of everything, and they're not massive red arrows because literally I'm just a few points outside of where I want to be. But it'd be nice to just get a little green arrow and start seeing ticking towards the 100k mark, and start to sort of close the gap and close that averages on the leaders. Other than that, go well. Have a good game week. Play your own game. Don't panic. All that stuff. Talk later. Bye.